Hello, everyone. It's quite early, so my voice is a little bit cracking up. And I promised not to look at the Mars Pluto Jupiter T-square, but then I decided, yes, I will. And the reason is because there are so many synchronicities around us. So we are going to revisit the Dorset Earth dragons. Posted by Jenny, Judy Hall's daughter again, and the eggs that I posted in the previous video. And we are going to look at the T-square, which is dissolved by the sun. And let me show you the chart itself. This time I did not prepare a chart precisely for London because it doesn't really matter, because the space-time moment will be valid and within orb for at least 2 days, and here it is. So this is right before sunrise on the 21st of May in Budapest, and there are two main features in this time. So we are actually 1.5 days later after the new moon on Sedna, which was important for us because it provided a potential to rearrange stuff for us. Sedna, creation through dissection, is one of the TNOs in transcendental and karmic astrology, where you can actually utilize this potential that, okay, I can look at my life, I can see the non-working segments, I can throw them out and create something new, just like a child makes a new stuff, a new rocket or a new, I don't know, engine from Lego pieces. It works exactly like Lego pieces. So you could actually take a look, throw out what's not working and create something new, a workable, usable, manageable new structure of yourself. That was the energy pattern of the last new moon on the 19th. And today we are on the 21st, and the sun is exactly rising with Sedna. The sun is already in Gemini. So by the time the sun, the Pluto, Mars, Jupiter T-square becomes exact, the sun is energetically also joining them. At the new moon, it wasn't energetically there because both the sun and Mars were at the last degrees of the previous signs. As I told you, Mars in Cancer is a waning Mars. Sorry, Cancers, I'm a Cancer myself, so I can say that. And now in Leo, it's in full power. In Leo, in a fire sign, a fiery planet loves being there. Mars here serves the sun, serves the ruler, and puts his sword as a protection towards the ruler. And of course, it makes also a sextile to the sun. So the T-square, which is a very disruptive and negatively interpreted T-square, and yes, because Mars-Pluto is always about aggression. Actually, Mars-Pluto aspects are good for two things: war and lovemaking, because it's one of the sexual aspects as well. The three sexual aspects, just because you might ask it, is Venus-Mars, Mars-Pluto, Venus-Pluto. So these combinations are usually translated as sexual aspects. And at the same time, Mars-Pluto is about aggression and violence as well. Mars is, of course, the lower octave, and Pluto is a higher octave, the same thing, of the same energy. And whereas Mars is a direct aggression, Pluto is really working behind the scenes. And then Jupiter enlarges everything it touches. So now it just moved into Taurus a couple of days earlier, and it will be there for a year. And it will enlarge, it will blow up everything that is connected or derived from Taurus. Money, security, well-being, indulgence, resources, both in a positive and in a negative way. So that is the structure, the T-square structure. Now it is perfectly tight, and at the same time also energetically well, because in the new moon chart it wasn't yet, because they were missing the Leo portion. So this is a fixed T-square, and it is dissolved by the sun Sedna conjunction. Sedna is lapping still behind. I mean, it will stay in Taurus for a while, and then of course it will move into Gemini, but it will be in the same degree. I mean, I explained this to you that Sedna has an orbital period of 11,400 years. Sometimes they say it's 12,500, something like. It doesn't really matter. It's a long orbit. It could stay over 1,000 years in one sign, so it's not going anywhere really. But Sadhana is the as I said, is the archetype of creation through dissection. And the reason of this for this video is to show you that this is the precise moment when we can actually utilize the outside world, how everything is going to hell and everything is being disrupted and restructured by the powers that be, because they simply realize that the empire is no longer working. It's very funny how those empires, if you look back for the last 600 years, they were only valid for about 100 years, and 100 years is about 3.5 generations. And when a new empire arises, the elites are still very fresh, very strong, very capable, but in 3 generations they deteriorate and they are unusable. And then the powers that be select another country. And at the moment, a lot of people think that this emerging new empire will be China. God help us. Please, United States, can you just get your act together and behave like a true empire and not pushing this woke agenda upon us? I mean, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the American dream was really a dream, and the American empire worked in a very, very nice way. They tried to elevate people and nations around them, and they said to them, okay, fine, if you are going to work for us, we are going to protect us. And it worked until you started this total crazy ideological war, and you were trying to push idiotic ideologies on people who didn't believe in it and had a different culture. And if you just stop doing this and would go back to your original plan, it would be a nice world. But I have a hunch that your elites are not able to do that anymore, because your elites are crazy and totally dishonest and totally stupid. That's the problem. Cretins. Yeah, cretins are leading the world. But anyhow, so if we look at the structure, this is it. This is precisely it. At this precise moment, and that's why I said is it the cross of the apocalypse? And the word apocalypse means that the shroud is lifted. And that's exactly what's happening around us. The shroud is being lifted. We can see through it. We can see the true nature of the power, the powers that be, and the stupid European and American elites who are totally useless and totally dishonest and corrupt. That's the space-time moment for you to recreate your stuff, to actually focus on what you want to do and use this disruptive energy to create something brand new, usable, workable, and also valid. And this is exactly the midpoint structure that I showed you here. Aries is at the midpoint of Jupiter Chiron. Now, if you have learned from me, or you have learned modern astrology, financial astrology, for instance, from Christine Skinner, she says that Jupiter Chiron aspects are about a lot of money. Chiron in business astrology or financial astrology is the signature of big money. And of course, Jupiter enlarges it. And it's very interesting how it reverberates in karmic astrology, because what we say is all sorts of animals in my garden waking up. Anyhow, I just saw a flash. Maybe it was a bird. Anyhow, so what she said, what we say is that Chiron is the sum total of your karmic wounds. It describes how and where you receive those wounds, and there can be 2 things. Either you are turning them into phobias and fears and horrible things, or you can turn them into talents. And that is why Jupiter Chiron aspects in karmic astrology describe how you can turn your karmic wounds into gold. This is precisely what we need to do, because Aries is drastically altered outward circumstances. So Aries is the manifestation of all kinds of disruption. For instance, wars, famine, all those big things in the apocalypse, enumerated in the apocalypse, famine and floods and war and fire and earthquakes and locusts and whatever, and so anything that comes before death. And but it also, in karmic astrology, Aries is the outward karma breaker. Whenever you need some kind of disruption to receive or arrive at a new order, and that's exactly what we need to do, not as the World Economic Forum is trying to push on us, not that new order. What I'm going to show you is that with Sedna and the Sun Sedna conjunction at the Pleiades, actually the goddess energy is coming back, the creator goddess energy is coming back. So let's take a look at this dissolved T-square. Here's the Sun Sedna conjunction, and as I said, this is a very negative, very disruptive, big picture T-square, at the apex of which is Jupiter, which is also enlarging everything. Since Jupiter is already in Taurus, big money is always there. And that is exactly what's happening. War is always big business. And I don't know how much you are interested in what's happening here in Eastern Europe, backwarded Eastern Europe. But of course, the EU allowed the Ukrainian grain to come into the EU so that it can reach the markets in the famine places in Africa. But instead, the people who are in charge for it just left it here. So our warehouses are full of this thing, which is actually very bad quality, and it has all sorts of pesticides and so it's so dishonest. It's actually really dishonest because it destroys the agriculture of the Eastern European countries, and of course we are fighting back. Anyhow, so that's Jupiter in Taurus right there. Let's take a look at the transcendental objects. They are almost the same as at the new moon. The Sun Sedna conjunction is at Phaethon and the Pleiades, and Phaethon is Helios's son, who is stealing his chariot and disrupts the whole world as it was. It actually, this myth describes a cataclysm when the sun disappeared and the whole thing disappeared. So it's a disaster or a significator. It's on the sun, but the Sun Sedna is also on the Pleiades, and the Pleiades is the home of the creator goddess. It is where she resides and where she now is being awakened and can help us in this restructuring of our world. On Pluto, you have Aureus, which denotes mitigated punishment, and that's exactly what you are looking at. Look at the United States, look at the EU, look at the corrupt people in the European Parliament. These people think that they are untouchable, that they can get away with murder, and they seem to be getting away with murder. And Tarazed, which is Gamma Aquila, I showed you this. This is the back of the eagle, and the whole eagle constellation is on the Milky Way, and it signifies the shamanic bird flying towards the gods. And that's exactly on Pluto at the moment. And on Jupiter, we still have Hephaestus, Metis, Helio, and Justitia. Hephaestus, the lame goldsmith who creates beautiful things, although he's not beautiful and not whole. And Metis is or Metis, I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyhow, she was the mother of Pallas Athena. She didn't give birth to her because she's swallowed as a fly by Zeus. But still, she is the goddess of wisdom. Helio, here we have Helio. So Jupiter is on Helio, or Helio is on Jupiter rather, and Phaethon is on the Sun. So there's this juxtaposition of roles, so to speak. And then Justitia, which is one of the cardinal virtues, justice. And on Mirach, which is Beta Andromeda. I showed you these two stars in the previous video. So these are the transcendental objects. And I still need to revisit the dream of my friend and student, ex-student. She's a brilliant astrologer, so I shouldn't call her a student anymore. anyhow, so she dreamt with Judy Hall, and Judy was in a jungle. And what I forgot to tell you is that the number 4 is the crust of matter, of course. It is the physical plane. It is the earth plane. And what Judy is working probably over there in the other dimension is the fact that she was showing us these 4 eggs. And yes, the egg shape is, of course, the goddess energy, the world egg, so to speak. And these 4 elements, these 4 crystals, and I recommend that you should get these 4 crystals for your own usage. I definitely will. And amethyst is communication with the higher spheres. It's a very high vibrational stone. Hematite is what brings you down to the earth plane. It's a blood stone. It's a blood energy. It is a root chakra stone that is linking us to physical existence. Lapis lazuli is a communication stone. It gives us clear words. I elaborated this in the previous video, so I'm not going to repeat myself. And aragonite or jade, she wasn't sure which one. She just saw a bright green egg, and this is linked to money. And again, money is important. Don't look down on money. Money is energy. Money is the overall payment method by which you can actually get what you need, and you need to have it and you need to use it. So Judy, this is Judy Hall's message in a dream, through the dream, that pay attention to higher communication things, pay attention to your roots, to your well-being here on the earth plane, communicate with each other, lapis, and pay attention to your resources. And again, we are going to revisit the Dorset earth dragons that Jenny, Judy Hall's daughter, was kindly enough to allow me to use her pictures, her photos. So she's finding these in Dorset. So these dragons, these dragon flints are emerging from the earth, showing us that there's again the goddess energy, the strong, very, very tectonic, very ancient and powerful earth energy, that the dragons are there for us, and the dragons are going to fight for us or with us for this new age. This is what I'm hoping. So that's why I revisited this very disruptive and very powerful T-square, which is at 0 degrees of the sun, which is always the most powerful placement to have. So those who have things at 0 to 1 degrees, please pay attention. Don't enter into fights and don't allow disruption enter into your life. And think about the Sun-Pluto trine, which is the most powerful. It is the magician trine. The sun moving into Gemini is making a trine to retrograde Pluto in Aquarius. This is in an air trine, and it is the magician. So create with words and pay attention to your words. And this is how you can actually better your own word. And that's let's utilize this negative, powerful, disruptive energy into a positive way, and let's create something new. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.